everybody to Cocktail History with the Freeborn County Historical Museum Library and Village. It's been an interesting 24 hours.
The storm,
the windstorm, I don't know if they've declared a first tornado. And has the National Weather Service?
I don't know, but there was a tornado warning and they only do that if one is touched.
One is spotted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can spot without touching.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so our little city of Heartland took either a really strong hit from high straight winds, that's what they would be called, or a tornado, but I don't think the National Weather Service has announced yet.
I don't know, yeah.
I have not checked the news stories. And for some reason, it feels like we've had a tornado here today.
Why?
I don't know.
Just the
My
way the
head.
atmosphere was?
Maybe that's what it is. Atmospheric confusion. We did have a little bit of some trees down at the rock garden, but nothing damaged there, which was good. And no damage here that I've seen. So that was really good. Anyway, welcome.
What are we doing?
We're doing the Brandy Alexander, which it's interesting that it's called a Brandy Alexander.
Okay. Why?
Well, initially it was made with gin. Oh. And the recipe I used is calling for cognac, which, is probably a cousin of brandy, maybe. Sure. I guess I could have looked that up while we were, this is kind of fun. Throughout history, Courvoisier has always been synonymous with superior quality. Legend has it that Napoleon even took with him hundreds of bottles to enjoy during his years in exile. So we're using Courvoisier, which is a cognac.
I hear that this is kind of like a desserty kind of drink.
Yes, and I have had it frozen.
Oh, so you had like the not milkshake, like ice cream shake kind of version.
Yeah. I've not had it unfrozen, but it's interesting. So the first Alexander was thought to have been made by Troy Alexander.
Okay.
At Rector's in New York, in celebration of the creation of the fictional character Phoebe Snow. Beautiful cartoon woman used to promote the use of clean burning coal on the Delaware, Lackawanna and Western Railroad. She wore a white dress, white hat, white gloves, and so Alexander wanted to create a white cocktail to commemorate her.
Hence Phoebe Snow. White.
Yes. Yeah. He named it after himself.
He made the cocktail to look like her, but then named it after himself?
Well, the Brandy Alexander. It's actually, I think, originally started as the Alexander.
Aha, the Great.
Nope, just the Alexander. Around 1922, Princess Mary married Viscount LaSalle, I don't know, in London. Most believe that this was the time when the gin was replaced with brandy in honor of this event. Thus, the Brandy Alexander was born. This is now the most popular version of the drink, with the cocktail cropping up in more lists than the original Alexander. Okay. With brandy or cognac, the drink is a little smoother, sweeter, probably
less spicy,
and probably the taste is probably a nicer taste on the palate than with gin. The marriage story is widely disputed.
Oh.
So, as with all the other classics, there's a competition over how this was developed, right?
Who made it? Who gets the claim to fame?
Some think that the Brandy Alexander was not a variation of the original, but a whole new drink.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You're using the same ingredients, but swapping out the gin, that's a variation.
Depends on like the purist kind of how.
I say that's a variation. I don't know. The Russian Tsar Alexander II believes the drink was named after him. Opera critic Alexander Dragon believes it was made with him in mind.
I mean, Alexander is a very old name and
there's
attributed to a lot of people.
Gal, if there was the Stephanie, any of us could say, that's me, right? Who wouldn't want to name a drink after me?
It'd probably be a good drink.
Be a bold
It'd be
drink.
a bold bougie drink.
Would have bourbon.
There you go.
I don't drink bougie.
Now I want a Risha though.
Well, so that would be a sweet bougie. So one of the things I didn't realize, and I so want to see this episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She orders a Brandy Alexander during a job interview. Now, Mary's not a big drinker on the Mary Tyler Moore Show and was pretty professional in her work environment. I can't imagine her having a cocktail for a job interview, unless maybe that was just a very 1970s thing to do.
What? 1970?
I feel like we're contrasting here. I'm sure you're going to mention this.
Okay.
Are you going to mention why you're attired this way?
Because the Brandy Alexander was John Lennon's favorite drink, so I'm kind of channeling here. Although I've gotten told that I am giving off a Sunny, not Sunny and Cher, just Sunny look.
It's a Sunny wanting to be John Lennon.
That's
look.
what you said. Yep.
and I for some reason decided to go. Not at all Brandy Alexander related. Although I was getting ready today and pulled out my F&B, my little lady F&B shirt, which is available in the gift shop. F&B is a brand of doll with a little history, and we do have some of them here.
1910.
I had the song "Brandy, You're a Fine Girl." I can't think of the name.
Oh.
I should have looked that up. That was running through my head while I was brushing my teeth and putting my shirt on today. And then, of course, as I was reading about Mary Tyler Moore, I was back to the one, the ooey, ooh, you look just like, or I look just like Buddy Holly. Oh, and you're Mary Tyler Moore.
I think of Brandy who was Cinderella in that one.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
Brandy. Was she a singer or was she just an singer actress?
That was her first.
She's still around.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that. I just had another one here too. The Brandy Alexander is celebrated nationally on January 31st.
Aw.
No exception. That's what
my brother's birthday.
That's what the article says. No exception.
That's the day.
I guess.
We're a little early.
So this person who wrote this article believes that the Brandy Alexander could be named for a person that is most likely the creator of the drink, Troy Alexander.
That makes sense.
And Rector's, the New York bar where Troy Alexander worked, operated from 1899 to 1919.
Oh.
So that's about the time. About the time, though, that a lot of these cocktails were being created. Yes. So that date, that time period, kind of gives a little credence to the claim.
That being him.
Yes. The Rectors boasted the first revolving front door in New York. Now, last time, remember we talked about the revolving. The carousel had the revolving bar. This is a first revolving front door. A high society haunt for New York City's nouveau riche.
I like revolving doors. They're fun.
Except if you get behind somebody who doesn't know how they work. Like, some of them are automatic.
I don't like the automatic
people
ones.
Stop. And then everything stops.
Yeah.
Not rocket science, folks. And I am going to apologize. I'm like all over the place today. I have been like this since I got out of bed this morning. Again, I'm going to blame it on the storm. Barometric pressure shifting from 60 to 20. That's the temperature shifting, sorry.
Yep.
So I really did just a mad dash, where did this drink come from, search. And I have a lot of repetitive things. So maybe we should just make this. And then I want you to tell me how you're going to tie this
to
Freeborn County history.
Yes. Do we put it in the shaker? Do we do ice first?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do ice first. I think we need to do we need to do these, mix these separate too, because you want a little froth. So we're going to mix 2 shakes. Okay. We're going to do 2 shakes. So we're going to do 1.5 ounces of cognac. And I do have to apologize because it does call for Dark Creme de Cacao, but clearly we do not have Dark Creme de Cacao.
Oh, sure.
So ours is really going to be more of a
Nice.
Phoebe White.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Phoebe
the snow. Phoebe's also a really old name that I think sounds new to me, but it's a really old name.
It is. And then an ounce of the creme de cacao and an ounce of cream. Is that sticky? Yeah, it's kind of a syrupy.
Just one?
1 ounce.
Glug, glug, glug.
And then 1 ounce of cream. And I got heavy whipping cream because that's my fave.
That's good.
And then you shake that up.
It's been a while since we've
I
shaken
know.
one.
Well, it's been a while since we've done a cocktail history, and again, I have to apologize because we've had some transitions here. We've hired a couple of new staff members. We lost our podcast guru, Reggie.
Yeah.
So for the past few weeks, we have been cramming podcasts in and having as much Reggie Bauer time as we could. Once you get that mixed up, then you strain it. It says chilled cocktail glass. Ours aren't chilled, but
Nice.
a cocktail glass or a coupe glass. I don't know what a coupe glass is, but I'm wondering if that's not a coupe.
Coupe or coupe?
C-O-U-P-E.
Oh.
Coupe. Isn't that coupe? I think that's coupe. Coupe.
Coupe.
No.
Here's your coupe
Coupe.
glass.
Okay, and then we're going to garnish with a little sprinkle of nutmeg.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I wish we had
Smells
smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
That was a thing.
Ah!
People talked about smell-o-vision. This smells so good. I'm excited to try it, but I'm holding off for you. Do you remember your measurements?
1.5 of
And
this.
then 1 and 1.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. In your way. Trying to be efficient here. So anyway, so yeah, we lost Reggie, and we're very sad. We're hoping to still do some things with him.
I was gonna say he went to a better place, but that sounds like he died. He didn't die.
He didn't die, and how could he have gone to a better place? He
Well,
left.
I know.
He left us.
But it'll be better for his career in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He just was such an asset for the community and for us, and so yeah, he is missed. But so that's kind of why we have not been putting out a newer. Ow!
That was my elbow.
A new cocktail history.
It's fine.
So we're gonna try to get back on track with that. What is our next popcorn history that we're releasing? Do you know?
What is the next one?
I feel like I should know this. We did
We just did the Pirates one.
16 topics in 2 days, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot of Freeborn County history. There you go. Perfect. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I really
It
wish.
smells Christmassy too, because of the
The
nutmeg.
nutmeg.
The nutmeg.
Oh, okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh my goodness, yes.
That's good.
Oh, I like that. How have I not had this before?
I don't know.
I don't even think I've seen a Brandy Alexander on a menu.
Oh, I don't think so either. It's
Wow.
good though.
Mm-hmm.
So with Freeborn County,
Yes.
I have 4 things for you to choose from. Okay, so I have Mansfield to Alden, the Twin of Alfred. Pause. The courthouse here in Albert Lee. And Manchester Farming. And this one I got before last night, but it's a Storm and Milk Cellar.
Okay, I want to know about Mansfield. We
Mansfield.
never talk about Mansfield.
Okay, that's a pretty short one, so that's good. It starts out with Alexander Finley, and these are all from the 1882 book that we have on Freeborn County history.
So I'm just going to throw this line in here because you're going to
Yes.
talk about another Alexander.
Yes.
There's a fleet of other Alexanders, all of whom at some point or another are said to have inspired the cocktail. Perhaps it was-
Alexander Finley. who was a well-known resident of Douglas County. He was born in Ireland and came to America in 1846, where he was first in Pennsylvania, found a wife, married her. He married her and then she became his wife. He didn't find a wife and then married her. He was a stonemason there. And later he went to Newcastle and was employed in ironworks. And then he wanted to see more of the country and to find better financial conditions. And so he left Pennsylvania, spent 1 year in Illinois, and then moved to Mansfield and became a farmer.
And again, that goes back to Freeborn County having it
That
all, right? The lakes, the rich soil, the greens, the just beautiful country.
Yeah. And then several years later, he went to Alden, where he also engaged in farming, which in the book it says, an occupation which he conducted most successfully.
I love it.
I
I love it.
And then his son, James A. Finley, became a progressive farmer of Alden.
Progressive farmer.
Progressive farmer of Alden.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pause. Okay, now let's talk about the storm in the milk cellar.
Okay, this one's a bit longer.
Which works great because we've got
milk. That was where that came from.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, we just had the storm yesterday, but I got this like a week ago is when I pulled this.
Great.
Or whenever we decided to do Brandy Alexander.
This is why we had a storm last night.
Well, I guess. I'm sorry, I did it.
The power of Risha. Stay tuned.
Late in the afternoon of June 15th, 1892, one of the most destructive cyclones recorded in the history of Freeborn County entered the county at the west line of Freeborn Township.
Okay, is a cyclone a tornado?
Yes.
Okay.
It swept back and forth about 3 miles north of the village of Freeborn and passed into Heartland.
Oh my
again.
gosh! You did cause it.
Where one section crossed a mile north of the village and another went through 2 towns in Waseca and Steele counties. The storm entered Freeborn Township from Faribault County and swept across the township in a northeasterly direction. It crossed the county line after demolishing the residence and other buildings of Edward Tellett in Faribault County. The first place which the storm struck in Freeborn was the Altlius farm. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but the Altlius. Owned by Mr. Nelson. Here, the barn and outbuildings were demolished, and nearby barns belonging to Jarn Larrabee, J. Tellett, and Samuel Lowry were blown down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the house of Mr. Steen and family was next struck, and here the only fatal result of the storm in this township occurred. A son, who was 7 years old, was killed, and the wife and daughter seriously injured. A barn and granary belonging to Truman Bowen was next blown down. Also a large barn of Henry Thade's from Mr. Thade's place. The storm seemed to move north for a half a mile or more to the school section. Here it is said 3 gigantic clouds came together, forming a funnel-shaped mass which whirled like a spinning wheel, a tornado. It first struck the house and stables belonging to M. Evenson and injured all the members of the family, carrying one child into a field. Where he was found 2 hours later. About 80 rods to the northwest stood the house of Mr. Shequin, which had been erected 2 years previous. So 2 years after he made his house, it was torn. This was struck by the storm and scattered over the fields. The family had seen the cloud and taken refuge in a straw stable to escape injury. The next damage reported was the destruction of Halver Westby's house, outbuildings, machinery, and windmill. Mr. Westby and his wife, having taken refuge in the cellar, were uninjured. Across the road from the Westby place stood the home of Thomas Johnson. This had the roof blown off, and the granary, horse stable, and most of his farm machinery was destroyed. About 60 rods north of Mr. Johnson's home stood the new house belonging to Emery McCauley. This was blown to pieces.
Goodness.
Mrs. McCauley Mrs. Macaulay and her 2 children had taken refuge in the milk cellar and so escaped.
Lucky to have a milk cellar.
Yeah, and Mr. Macaulay was from home. And as if you look in the 1882 book, which this records 1892 events, so I'm not actually sure what the stance is in that book, but it has many more paragraphs detailing more destruction of that same cyclone.
How long is a rod? Because they measure by rods.
I don't know.
Okay. And when do you think, or maybe I should say, I wonder when the word tornado started to be used, because they don't mention tornado.
They don't. They talk about clouds coming together and forming that wind spindle, like spinning,
spiraling, and cyclone, and which a cyclone I think really is a wind.
Oh, maybe.
Like a straight line wind. I'm wondering.
I guess whenever I think of cyclone, I just like say it's pretty much a tornado, but maybe it's not, because I think of Wizard of Oz and they call that a cyclone.
And what was the date on that? January?
1892. It was June 15th.
Okay. Oh, January would be like historic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And we just made history with
December.
December. Yeah. Thankfully, in Heartland, nobody was injured.
Right. Well, lots of things were like torn, but
no
body injury.
nobody. And it, to be honest, I think it was maybe even more frightening because of what has happened in Kentucky this past week. Yeah. It's these history-making weather events really have to cause you to pause. And maybe it's time that we all really start having that conversation on global warming, which is kind of a dirty phrase, but there's got to be a cause for some of these things that are happening. Forest fires, the snow patterns changing, the tornado patterns changing.
And that has to do with something you had mentioned about how we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint and be more conscientious of that.
Yes, we as a museum are really trying to do that. And museums I think tend to have a low carbon footprint because we're all about preservation.
Exactly.
The boxes we use to store our items are archival boxes. They're not your average Joe cardboard box that we rip down and throw away. Although we do have plenty of those that show up. But yes, we are trying to figure out ways where we can reduce our carbon footprint. And there's, some of it's simple, getting rid of the styrofoam, not using styrofoam for all of our meetings.
Or
packing peanuts, although a lot of those now are water soluble.
True.
So interesting. That was a good pick considering what happened last night.
Right.
And
The synchronicity. That's a groovy word.
All right, John Lennon. I don't think John Lennon said groovy. That was Sunny. Now you are channeling Sunny. All right, I got you, babe.